Can a boxy truck become a legend? In the 1990s, Renault took a bold leap with a design so radical it looked like a spaceship on wheels. Thus was born the Renault Magnum, a French giant that broke every rule of heavy transport. What made it so unique? Why did production stop? Today you'll discover the full story behind one of the most daring trucks ever built. The birth of a different icon. In the late 1970s and throughout the 1980s, French manufacturer Renault pursued an audacious ambition to completely reinvent the long-haul truck. After more than a decade of development, the first Renault Magnum was unveiled to the world in 1990. From the very first glance, it was clear this was unlike anything else on the road. Its bold, geometric design earned it nicknames such as the Aquarium and the Diesel Train. Even today, more than 30 years later, it still stands out for its unmistakable look. A design that broke all molds. The Renault Magnum was the first mass-produced truck to feature a cab completely separated from the engine. This design improved sound insulation, reduced vibration, and created a far more comfortable driving experience. The cab, offering nearly 9 cubic meters of interior space, was made from fiberglass, reducing overall weight and making it resistant to corrosion, a remarkably advanced choice for its time. This approach sparked a curious urban legend that the French had stolen the idea from a Soviet prototype known as the MAZ 2000, but that claim has no basis. Renault's prototype, the V10 Virage, had already been publicly shown in 1985, complete with a full metal body and interior, while the Soviet model appeared 3 years later. Clearly, Renault's innovation came from vision and patience, not imitation. Advantages of a revolutionary giant. The Magnum's flat-floor cab represented a huge leap in ergonomics and comfort. The interior was spacious, well thought out, and detailed to a high standard. Drivers and passengers could move around and rest like never before in a European truck. Another key benefit was the large engine compartment. Its design allowed various diesel engines of different power levels to be fitted easily. Its overall toughness also made it a favorite for those seeking long-term reliability and strength. Even today, many owners praise its durability and road performance. An unexpected farewell in 2013. Despite its many qualities, production of the Renault Magnum came to an end in 2013. That year, the last 2 units rolled out of the Bourg-en-Bresse factory, marking the close of an era. Why discontinue such a distinctive and iconic truck? The reasons were several. Problems that couldn't go unnoticed. One of the main flaws was its cab suspension. Although it featured a 3-point mounting system to absorb vibrations, many drivers described the sensation as if the cab had a life of its own, especially on curves or uneven terrain. Even in the newer versions, this feeling of disconnect between cab and chassis was never fully resolved. Additionally, the vehicle's structure created excess weight on the front axle. To fix this, the cab had to be moved backward, shortening the front overhang and forcing the access steps to be placed behind the front wheels. Climbing aboard required using both hands, leading to the old joke that you can spot a Magnum driver by the bite marks on his paperwork folder. Aerodynamics that left much to be desired. Another frequent criticism was its poor aerodynamics. The nearly square cab collected dirt easily around handles and exposed surfaces. It wasn't just a matter of speed, but of practicality and maintenance. Every trip through bad weather meant ending up with a dirty, fuel-inefficient cab. Renault finally said enough. While none of these issues alone were fatal, the real reason behind the Magnum's demise was declining demand. After more than 2 decades and 4 different generations, Renault decided to focus on producing the new Renault T, a more conventional model with a cheaper cab to manufacture. A name that carried its weight with pride. In its first generation, this groundbreaking truck was launched under the AE badge, but soon adopted the name that would make history, Renault Magnum. The choice was no accident. Magnum, from Latin, means great or grand, a perfect match for its ambitious spirit, imposing size, and bold philosophy of going beyond the ordinary. Versions for every road. Besides the main long-haul tractor unit, Renault also offered a platform chassis version. This extended configuration could carry up to 15 tons and tow with ease, making it a versatile option for all kinds of transport. Drive configurations included 4x2, the most common, 6x2 and 6x4 variants, depending on weight and stability needs. Technology ahead of its time. From its earliest versions, the Magnum came packed with innovations we now take for granted. It featured a 12-speed automatic transmission called OptiDriver, which allowed for smooth, effortless driving, revolutionary at the time. Its front suspension could be either parabolic springs or air bellows, while the rear used an electronically controlled pneumatic system known as Airtronic, which greatly improved ride comfort. In terms of safety and driver assistance, the Magnum didn't fall behind. It could be equipped with disc brakes, traction control, brake assist, and other features that were practically futuristic in the early 1990s. A cab straight out of a spaceship. One of the most iconic details of the Renault Magnum was its dashboard design. Instead of resembling a traditional truck, it looked more like the control console of a spacecraft. Everything was angled toward the driver, with buttons and displays surrounding the seat like a cockpit. This aesthetic reinforced the idea that the Magnum wasn't just a truck, it was a unique driving experience. An American heart beneath a French hood. One of the most surprising curiosities about the Renault Magnum was its engine lineup. Some versions featured V8 engines with 16 liters of displacement, built by the American manufacturer Mack Trucks. These beasts produced up to 560 horsepower, which explains why many models carried the word Mack on the cab, sometimes even keeping Renault's logo. This mix might seem confusing, but it made perfect sense. At that time, Mack was owned by the Renault Group. Other variants used Renault's own diesel engines, producing around 420 horsepower. With each new generation, these engines were refined to improve efficiency and meet increasingly strict environmental standards. An interior that evolved with every generation. From the first to the fourth generation, Renault continuously enhanced the Magnum's aesthetics and cabin livability. The floor-to-ceiling height started at 187 centimeters and reached 207 centimeters in the final version launched in 2005. This made the Magnum one of the trucks with the best vertical space on the market, perfect for drivers spending weeks on the road. An Australian oddity, the Mack Magnum. Few people know that between 1999 and 2003, versions of the Renault Magnum were built in Australia. These units, called Mack Magnum, carried Mack badges and branding but were designed for the Australian market. They used both Mack and Cummins diesel engines, renowned for their reliability. However, in a country where long-nosed trucks reign supreme, this flat-front European design never truly won over Australian truckers. A legacy that still rolls on. Though production ended more than a decade ago, the Renault Magnum lives on in the collective memory of truck enthusiasts. Its boxy silhouette, proud stance, and bold personality made it a legend on wheels. In an era where most trucks look alike, the Magnum stands as a symbol of rebellion and uncompromising design. If you enjoyed the story of the Renault Magnum, the French giant that broke all conventions and defied expectations, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. There's always room here for machines with character, unforgettable designs, and engines that made history. See you on the next road, where another legend on wheels awaits.